There's just something about military vehicles, right? They're these incredible feats of engineering, they're icons of history, and for a lot of people, they're a total lifelong passion. Today, we're going to dive into why these machines, born from the chaos of conflict, still have such a powerful grip on our imagination, from the battlefields of the past to the dedicated workshops of today.
I mean, that's the big question, isn't it? What makes someone spend a fortune and countless hours bringing an old tank or a Jeep back to life? Are they honoring history? Is it just a love for mechanics? Or is it something deeper? We're going to get into all of that. But first, let's look at where things stand right now.
So that number on your screen, $6.75 billion. That's for just one contract. It went to Oshkosh Corporation to build 17,000 brand new tactical vehicles, basically the modern-day Humvees, for the U.S. military. And believe me, that's just the start.
Yeah, this isn't just about dusty old relics in a museum. The total plan is to replace 55,000 vehicles. When you add it all up, we're talking about a deal worth over $30 billion. This is a massive, cutting-edge industry that's constantly creating the icons of tomorrow. But to really get where we're going, we've got to look back at where it all started.
All right, let's wind the clock back to the beginning. The whole idea of an armored fighting vehicle wasn't some brilliant idea someone had in a lab. Nope, it was born out of pure, brutal necessity.
What you're looking at here, that's not a tank. Not yet, but it's a direct ancestor. See, in World War I, the machine gun was so devastating, it created this horrific stalemate, trench warfare. You couldn't cross no man's land without being torn to shreds. So they needed something that could survive the bullets and cross the mud. The answer? Put some armor and guns on a tractor. Turns out, nothing fuels innovation quite like war.
And just like that, a whole new way of fighting was born. Armored warfare wasn't just a new toy. It was a total game changer for strategy. Instead of soldiers stuck in trenches, armies could now use speed and firepower to literally punch a hole in the enemy line and cause chaos. The battlefield was never, ever going to be the same.
Fast forward to the Second World War, and that early concept had evolved into absolute titans, like the American M4 Sherman you see here. They churned these things out by the thousands, and it became the symbol of Allied industrial power. It was reliable, you could adapt it for anything, and they just built a staggering number of them, the true workhorse of the war.
Now, here's where it gets really wild. How long some of these designs can last. Take the British Centurion Tech. It was designed for World War II but showed up just a little too late. But it went on to serve all over the world for decades. From Korea to Vietnam, its design was so good that upgraded versions are still in use today in places like South Africa. Now remember this tank, we're going to come back to it.
So these vehicles have these incredible lives etched right into their steel. But what happens when their fighting days are over? Well, that's when a whole new chapter begins, all thanks to this passionate, worldwide community of restorers, collectors, and history buffs. And we're not talking about a small hobby here. At big events like the famous Tank Fest in the UK, you'll see hundreds of reenactors. And they don't just put these machines on display, they create these incredibly immersive experiences. They don't just show you history, they make you feel it, bringing it to life for a whole new generation.
It is an absolutely visceral experience. You can watch full-scale battle reenactments and literally feel the ground shake as these metal beasts roar past. But it's not all about the noise and the action. The day often ends, as you see, with a solemn memorial, a really powerful reminder of the human cost behind all this hardware.
And behind every one of those perfectly restored machines is a workshop that looks like this. It's like a library of steel, just overflowing with rare parts, engines being rebuilt. This isn't just tinkering in the garage. It takes incredible dedication, serious mechanical skill, and the patience of a detective to hunt down the right pieces and bring these giants back from the dead.
And this really is what it's all about. When you get past the history and the mechanics, what you find are these deeply personal stories, these incredible human connections that are forged between people and these machines. This is Doug Behrens, right before he was about to start restoring a Centurion tank. Yep, the same kind we were just talking about. He was hit with this absolutely terrifying illness. Doctors were fighting to stop a paralysis that was just creeping its way up his body, threatening his life.
And this is the history card for his tank. Every single line is a different mission, a different unit, another chapter in its own long, hard life. You've got two survivors here, each with their own incredible story of endurance. Doug, well, he won his fight, and he poured that same fighting spirit right into the tank. The restoration became part of his own recovery. It was this parallel journey of bringing a piece of history and himself back from the brink.
And it's not just the restorers, you know? For families, these vehicles are a tangible link to the people they love. A guy named Mark Bulmer wrote to a magazine about his stepfather, Bill, who served on a self-propelled gun in Korea. So for Mark, seeing that machine, it's not just looking at a piece of history. He's looking at his own family's story.
But hey, it's not always about the famous icons that everyone knows. The world of military vehicles is filled with fascinating oddities, forgotten prototypes, and some really compelling what-if stories. So let's take a little detour down some of the roads not taken. Ever heard of the Austin Ant? Probably not. Back in the 60s, it was this really clever idea to compete with the Land Rover. The plan was to use parts from the classic Mini, including its sideways engine. But for military use, that was just seen as too complicated, and they scrapped the whole project. As one engineer said later with a ton of regret, it could have been a lightweight Land Rover, if only. And then you get ingenuity that's born from pure desperation. This is a homemade armored vehicle. It's built on a simple truck chassis in Croatia during their war for independence in the early 90s. I mean, when you don't have a factory, you fight with what you've got. It's just a powerful example of human creativity under fire.
And on the complete other end of the scale, you have the sheer terrifying size of the Cold War. This beast is a MAZ 577 tractor. Its only job was to haul trailers carrying multi-ton Soviet nuclear missiles. These things are so enormous, they make everything else look like a toy. A pretty chilling reminder of the incredible engineering that went into the world's deadliest weapon.
So that brings us right back to where we started. These machines are a total paradox. They're born from conflict, but they showcase unbelievable human ingenuity. They represent a history we might want to forget, but they connect families to their past in a way nothing else can. So, what are they? Are they simply monuments to war, or are they testaments to the people who designed them, built them, and drove them? It's a complicated legacy, forged in steel, and it's a story that's still being written.